all-terrain tackle, all-terrain boats this week on Sportsman TV. What a better place to get together than Grosse Savanne. This is the first opportunity, I've been here a couple times, the first opportunity I've had to fish Miller's Lake, you know, which is their private reservoir, and it's sure enough a lake. 484 acres of fishable area, and as you can tell, the number of the fish is just incredible. Every boat we've talked to today, you know, is, you know, pushing 100 bass, and today doesn't seem to be, you know, one of the best days, and it's still that good.
Yes, this used to be a former rice field that was formed back in the early 80s. It also was used as a cattle pasture up until recent times, and we basically, instead of pumping it off and drying it up for the cows, we've gone ahead and lifted the levees a little bit higher and flooded it up and made a bass fishing impoundment out of it.
It's a chance for me to go through some new tackle, you know, use some baits that I haven't had the opportunity to use, like the Rage Blade. I really like to go to a place like this. It helps me. I'm fixing to leave here in a couple days and go to an elite tournament, you know, just to come to a place and catch some fish, you know. A lot of times, you know, in our area, fishing can be a grind, and the cool thing about coming here, these suckers are hungry.
It's a place where you can take a kid or a novice or your wife and just, you know, have a good day, fun day fishing and actually catch something. And like Greg said, you can practice on your fishing skills here and try some different baits, and it's a really neat place. It's been remarkable to see the growth rate of these fish, and I think contribute that to the crawfish that were in here, plus the threadfin shad we put in here.
And they're all good eating size.
This is Ryan Terrio. I'm here at Bowie Outfitters, and listen, I'm an avid bow hunter. If you're looking for a place with the best service in the South and wonderful accessories, not to mention a top-of-the-line bow range, Bowie Outfitters is a place for you. A wonderful staff here and great service at Bowie, but an awesome selection of guns. We have pistols, rifles, and shotguns, and everything else you could imagine. And for all those hard-to-find bass fishing and inshore products, Bowie Outfitters is a place for you. That's Bowie Outfitters for everything outdoors in between Essen and Bluebonnet on Perkins Road.
Things were slower and easier back when, but even though things move faster now, it's still easy to do business with Service Chevrolet Cadillac. For over 40 years, we've known it's about more than a great price. It's about genuine customer service. That's why we've sold more Chevys than any other dealer in Acadiana. Plus, right now, you get all the rebates, all the discounts, and rock-bottom finance rates. Log on at servicegm.com or come see us at Service Chevrolet Cadillac, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette.
Don't just be a sportsman, look like one too. Men, women, kids, everyone wants to look like a good sport. And now you can find it all in one place without leaving the house. Our popular Sportsman logo clothing and accessories are just a click away at LouisianaSportsman.com. T-shirts, caps, polarized sunglasses, jewelry, koozies, and more are available in a variety of sizes and colors. It's easy to show the world that you are a sportsman. Visit shop.louisianasportsman.com today and get that perfect sportsman item for yourself or as a gift for that sportsman in your life.
For camping, fishing, hunting, or anything outdoors, bring along Arctic Ice. Simply freeze these versatile cooler packs and they're ready to keep your food and drinks cold throughout your outing. Arctic Ice can maintain in a cooler 60% longer than the equal weight of regular ice, and with no more mess or soggy food. Arctic Ice is clean and easy. Alaskan Series can maintain a sub 40-degree cooler for days, and the Tundra Series can keep game frozen till it gets home. Preserve an Arctic refuge in your cooler. Choose Arctic Ice.
Yeah, this is a Strike King Hack Attack heavy cover swim jig. It's a 1/4 ounce. I got a blue bug rage crawl in the back. Just puts out a lot of action. Something a little different from a spinnerbait. Shows them something a little different. You know, in theory, these fish should be trying to spawn now, and a lot of times when that happens, you know, they start to guard the nest from certain things. And you know, that swim jig, you can cover a lot of water with it. I throw it on 50-pound braid. It looks like some type of creature swimming in the water. It's no exact science to what they, you know, what they think it is, but it just mimics something. If you look at this cover, the thing about it is you can fish it fast and fish it on the surface if they're aggressive, but it's a really good cold water bait too, and I can crawl it and slow roll it, and it's something easy for them to catch. You know, it looks like something that, you know, it doesn't take much effort for them to catch, but for some reason, I can't catch them on it. I'm actually throwing a, you know, a light swim jig. This is like I said before, a 1/4 ounce. But if they keep missing, if they come through that cover and get it, I'll go to a heavier one. And the reason for that is it'll ride down a little. A big jig rigged up too for that, so. That's the cool thing about coming to a place like this. You can work on a technique or experiment with a lot of different tackle and, you know, get comfortable with using things that you don't get the opportunity to do other places. This is a new Rage blade. I just don't, you know, it's the same color as the swim jig I was throwing. It's basically a, you know, a bladed jig. It's a little different design from the Pure Poison that I normally throw. It's a new bait out. It's a little more weedless than a Pure Poison, does the same thing. The hookup on it's a little better. You know, I just don't feel like we're catching them fast enough. We're on a place that's really got them, and you go 5 casts without a bite, you're probably not doing the right thing. So this bait basically has the same profile as the swim jig, yet it's putting out vibration.
Greg, your retrieve on that bait, how do you typically like, you know, do you like to burn it back in?
No, not really. It's normally just a steady, medium to slow. It's not a fast, retrieve.
And why is that?
Well, one reason it was designed to pull at that, and it typically when they're on that type of bait, if they're not biting it, they just won't bite it. Does that make sense? It's not like something you can really change the retrieve of, and it's kind of a unique deal. You know, this type of bait has been out now for 5 or 6 years, and there's a certain period of time when nothing outfishes it. Because it does something, it's a vibrating jig. You know, you can swim a jig and get that profile, but with this, you know, you kind of have that thump of a single spin spinnerbait, but a totally different profile. And again, it's really low pressure. They typically don't relate tight to cover, you know. So moving baits are typically the deal on days like today, you know. You know, if you had bright sunshine and high pressure, you know, they'll get up in the, get up in the cover, but they seem to be kind of out in front of it, most of them. The difference between this bladed jig and most, there's no jig head. Most of them are a jig blade attached to a jig head. This one actually has a weight on the blade, but it's a hook attached to the blade. And it really seems that the hookup is better on it, and it's a lot more weedless. It's a lot more weedless than your typical bladed jig out there. This is just an adjustment on the Pure Poison. One of the difference, this bait typically seems to fish a little shallower, and I still go back to the Pure Poison if I'm fishing deeper. It actually runs a little deeper with the jig head. I like the Pure Poison on redfish. I like the Rage blade on it. But like I said, the hookup seems to be better on this bait, and it's a little more weedless, especially fishing around wood. You know, because typically that bladed jig, you stay hung a lot trying to crawl it around wood. This bait, you can crawl it right through a treetop. That's one of the advantages to it. You know, in a situation fishing marsh where there's no wood, you know, they're both good, but you know, a lot of places you're in the basin, you know, there's certain places go around cypress trees, you know, laydowns. This bait will outfish the pure poison.
Yeah, we try to come down here as much as we can and use our product. We have company outings where we'll take our dealers down here and go use the boats, go bass fishing, go red fishing. Try to stay in as much as we can just to be familiar with it and familiar to hear what the people are saying about what they like and what they need, and always trying to stay fresh in the marketplace with new stuff. We do. We sell a whole lot of boats in Louisiana. It's probably one of our largest markets. And Miller Lite.
Oh, Miller Lite. Pull around here, get a 6-pack. Triple. He called it. He called it.
He did, didn't he? Little finesse jig.
That's got to be like 42 or 43 right there.
At least 43.
Yeah, that was a good triple right there. That was our first, we went straight from singles, skipped over the double and got a triple there. But yeah, we definitely, we try to come down here as much as we can, and I mean, there's nothing else like this place in the United States that has the quality of fisheries and fresh water, salt water.
You catch a nose?
It's convenient for us to get here from Arkansas, and honestly, I wouldn't choose any other place to go to fish.
How diverse the two states are.
Now, where were y'all on that one? Right here.
Well, you know, if you know you're fishing in the marsh, duck hunting in the marsh, I mean, aluminum boat is, you got to have it. You know, you can put your dog in it. You don't worry about the carpet. You got to have something that's user friendly. Oh, you got to be kidding.
We definitely pride ourselves on durability. As great as the fisheries are here, there's probably some of the most extreme conditions in the country as well, as far as, I mean, just stumpy lakes, big wind conditions, and we pride ourselves on making a very durable boat. So it's a very practical product for this geographic area for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I like dragging through them. I can feel them under there. There's so many of them out there. I'm gonna have to circle back around.
S11 sunglasses makes it like the water is not even there.
For camping, fishing, hunting, or anything outdoors, bring along Arctic Ice. Simply freeze these versatile cooler packs and they're ready to keep your food and drinks cold throughout your outing. Arctic Ice can maintain in a cooler 60% longer than the equal weight of regular ice, and with no more mess or soggy food. Arctic Ice is clean and easy. Alaskan Series can maintain a sub 40-degree cooler for days, and the Tundra Series can keep game frozen till it gets home. Preserve an Arctic refuge in your cooler. Choose Arctic Ice.
Fishing. It's where good stories come from. It's about good times and family and friends. It's about taking a couple home for dinner tonight and saving a few for tomorrow. It's all about that and so much more. To CCA, fishing is about enjoying today and making sure tomorrow is even better. To us, fishing comes with a responsibility for the resources we enjoy so much. If fishing means all that to you, then you belong with CCA.
Louisiana Sportsman Magazine. For over 31 years, your source for fishing and hunting information. Each month you will find stories by local experts on everything from bass to redfish to ducks, deer to trout and turkey. We've got incredible local information that you can use immediately to get more success outdoors. You'll also enjoy monthly columns on cooking, the latest lures, GPS locations, shooting, kayaks, and much more. Have Louisiana Sportsman delivered to your house and safe. $24.99 gets you a full year of Louisiana Sportsman. To order today, visit louisianasportsman.com.
That's a 3/4 ounce Strike King Hack Attack flipping jig. I put a that's a Denny Briar or DB crawl on the back, bluegill color. That's actually sexy crawfish, sexy crawl. Just, it's a good representative of a crawfish or a bluegill. Just try something a little different. We've been winding a bait a lot, and we're catching some fish, but again, this is one of those places where we've heard rumor where some guy caught 40, in 5 minutes.
Tell me a little bit about the flipping technique you're using now. You're throwing to some sort of structure, right? Grass or wood?
Yeah, well, this is just a way, if the fish are related, if they're in the grass or they're relating tight to a piece of cover, flipping and pitching is just a good way to put that bait precisely on that area. We've been using a moving bait. Not really, with the moving bait, you target more of an area. We're just fishing around the cover. And with this technique, I can fish through the grass. And it's a lot slower technique, but a lot more thorough. This is just a solid black Strike King KVD Sexy Frog. I have cut the legs on it some, so it'll walk around in place. When I'm fishing real heavy vegetation, I'll leave all the legs on there because I want the frog to float flat. But, fishing out around the cover and walking it, like a topwater bait, I like to take a few of the legs out. And what that allows it to do, the frog will set down a little deeper in the back, and that sucker will almost just spin around in one place. So if you want to just really slow down and target around a piece of cover with it, it makes it a lot easier. The cool thing about a frog over a normal topwater bait is I can fish it out here in open water and get bit. I can throw it on braid. I got this on 65 braid, so I feel sure I can get them out when they get it. But the other thing is I can target open water or I can target heavy cover. But typically for this to work out in open water, you like for the water to have a little stain or to be around heavy cover. So that fish explodes, all of a sudden the frog shows up and he comes out and gets it. But it's just a good way. This is, basically early spring. And just as soon as those fish move to the bank, I start throwing it because a lot of times it'll have a tendency to catch larger fish, a larger average fish. It'll catch that same fish that a jig caught when the water was cold, so I like to go through it. And you can cover a lot of water with it. It's real efficient. And it's just a fun way to fish because it's a visual. You get to see the fish come up and get it. So that's kind of that deal that, makes a bass fun to fish for, that visible strike. Yeah, actually, it's funny. When they strike this, who knows what they think it is, but, they won't hardly eat a frog. A frog actually puts out a toxin that, that is non-tasty to the fish, and so if they do eat one, they'll spit it right back out. But you can tell how these are getting this, they're sucking it right down. They may think it's a baby bird, a bird that's fell in the water, a rat. It could actually be, look like a fish. I'll throw a white one a lot of times if there's a lot of shad around. It can look like a dying shad. A bass is an opportunist. So there's something crippled on the surface, they just make the most of that. Look up the wheat.
You dry dogs.
I set the hook and it just lofted him over in the bushes. Oh, got a little slime on my Grosse Savanne coat. I like to slick that felt up, slick it over. You're probably gonna watch me. This is a Strike King. This is actually the KVD model, 3/8 ounce. We make several different 3/8 ounce spinnerbaits. This is actually a small profile one. For me personally, most of the places you go, that smaller profile spinnerbait will get you more bites than a big one. Now, with that being said, when you go to a place that's got the right kind, then you go to the big one. But before I make that change, or a lot of times it's time of the year, how deep you're fishing. The fish get up shallow, regardless of the size. It's hard to beat that smaller profile spinnerbait for getting a bite. It's just a real, it's basically just it's got a little more color to it than the traditional chartreuse and white, 4.5 gold, nickel, just real simple. Spinnerbait's probably one of the original fish catchers. Been around forever, really hard to improve on it. other than this one is weight forward. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of weight in the head. So when you bump cover, it will have a tendency to make that skirt pulsate and make it really weedless. You know, I typically, anytime you're fishing a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait, you're fishing 4 foot or less. You know, even if I'm slow rolling, if I get any deeper than that, I'll go to a heavier one. So typically when I'm using this style spinnerbait, I'm bank fishing, target fishing, fishing around shallow vegetation, you know, just covering a lot of water. And you know, that spinnerbait bite typically is dictated, you need the right conditions for it. You need cloudy weather, dirtier water, you know, wind, something to kind of cover it up, because it actually, you know, looks like bait fish. It's what you're trying to resemble with it. That blade puts off a lot of flash, and then when the fish is attracted to it, you know, then the skirt, you know, all that comes into play.
Yeah, beforehand, like I said, you know, if you'd see a deer cut across here and a couple of rabbits and maybe a coyote, that's about all it was utilizing this whole piece of property. And now, since we've got water on it, the amount of diversity in species is just tremendous. It's great to realize that people that are in the business and people like Greg Hackney that travel all over the country come here and they're very impressed with what we have and enjoy the opportunity to fish here. It just speaks a lot for what we have here. And from a relationship standpoint with these guys, we're trying to get the word out to the general public that we're open now for fishing, which in the past, Grosse Savanne's been known mostly for duck and goose hunting with red fishing and speckled trout. And this push we're trying to make on bass fishing is just another opportunity we have here in Southwest Louisiana to enjoy the outdoor environment. And we're trying to get the word out to let everybody know we're open.
Why Bowie Outfitters? Our customers know why.
When you need something, you come in, you ask for it, and you can get it. Great selection of clothes here, guns, shells, calls, whatever you need. I like coming in and doing that. And more importantly for me, I'm a big bow hunter. I think these guys are better than anybody. That's why I come over to Bowie Outfitters.
That's Bowie Outfitters, Perkins Road between Essen Lane and Bluebonnet. Bowie Outfitters, for everything outdoors.
Things were slower and easier back when. But even though things move faster now, it's still easy to do business with Service Chevrolet Cadillac. For over 40 years, we've known it's about more than a great price. It's about genuine customer service. That's why we've sold more Chevys than any other dealer in Acadiana. Plus, right now, you get all the rebates, all the discounts, and rock-bottom finance rates. Log on at servicegm.com or come see us at Service Chevrolet Cadillac, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette.
Sportsman.com is the South's premier hunting and fishing website. Planning a hunting or fishing trip? Visit LouisianaSportsman.com and get up-to-the-date information on weather, tides, or solar data. Our breaking news and continually updating forum will keep you up to date, or visit our report section and ask the locals what's been biting and where. Need to sell or buy an outdoor item? LouisianaSportsman.com's free classifieds are the quickest way for you to reach the outdoor market. LouisianaSportsman.com, the quick way to get the most of the outdoors.
Fishing. It's where good stories come from. It's about good times and family and friends. It's about taking a couple home for dinner tonight and saving a few for tomorrow. It's all about that and so much more. To CCA, fishing is about enjoying today and making sure tomorrow is even better. To us, fishing comes with a responsibility for the resources we enjoy so much. If fishing means all that to you, then you belong with CCA.
Well, now we're breaking down to a KVD Sexy Shad 1.5.
What's it good for?
Well, you know, it just does a good job of representing a bait fish, and it seems like we've hit a little area. There's actually quite a bit of grass growing in that cut. You know, these fish are starting to chase a little bit. We're seeing them wake around. But the main thing I'm keying in on is the guy just threw back-to-back casts in the same place and caught one, so I know it's got to be a good place. You know, but that's the other cool thing about, you know, about fishing here. You know, you can take somebody who doesn't know how to throw a topwater bait, or, you know, or somebody who really doesn't know how to fish, and if they can just get a bait out there and wind it in, you know, they stand a pretty good chance here of catching one. Where a lot of places, you know, it's hard to get somebody interested in something if they don't catch anything. So it's good to bring somebody to a place like this where they can catch them, you know. We actually have a whole series of these crankbaits. We have a 0.5, which is a 1/2 inch long. We have a 0.0, which is 1 inch long, 1.5, 1.5 inches, and 2.5. And all of them do something a little different. From the depth, the size to represent the bait fish. That 1.5 is hard to beat because it's just kind of a catch-all. It'll catch a great big one. It's easy to come up with a color pattern that resembles something in the area you're fishing in that it looks like. And for a smaller plug, it's heavy, and that means it casts good. Now you can air it out and throw a long ways. It's good around cover, and it is a proven fish catcher. It's probably been as much money won tournament-wise on that particular crankbait than any other one made. I mean, the last few years, this bait and even that color has dominated all over the country. If you're into catching and not fishing, Gro Savon. Join us here next time on Sportsman TV.
For camping, fishing, hunting, or anything outdoors, bring along Arctic Ice. Simply freeze these versatile cooler packs and they're ready to keep your food and drinks cold throughout your outing. Arctic Ice can maintain in a cooler 60% longer than the equal weight of regular ice, and with no more mess or soggy food. Arctic Ice is clean and easy. Alaskan Series can maintain a sub 40-degree cooler for days, and the Tundra Series can keep game frozen till it gets home. Preserve an Arctic refuge in your cooler. Choose Arctic Ice.